Hello, everyone, and welcome again to United Nations Academic Impact in our Digital Discussion Series podcast. Today, we'll be speaking to Cristina Venables, an environmental water planner at the New South Wales Office of Environment and Heritage. She and 75 other female scientists recently participated in the Homeward bound expedition to Antarctica in December 2016. Fabian Dattner pioneered the Homeward bound expedition as a platform for female scientists to discuss ways to uplift the leadership role of women in science, particularly in matters of sustainability and climate change. Today's interview will provide more insights about the 20-day voyage and the leadership role of women in environmental science. Hello, Cristina. Great to have you here with us today.
Hi, Lisa. Thanks so much.
So for our first question, could you please tell our listeners what inspired your interest and subsequent career in water planning and management?
Yeah, sure. So my love and interest in the natural world, and I think specifically freshwater, goes back to my childhood probably. I was born in Ottawa in Canada, which is a city that's surrounded by water. So I grew up sailing in the rivers and swimming in lakes around my home, skating on the canal during the winter. And I think from all this time that I spent outdoors, I really developed an appreciation for how interconnected the water environments are, and not only just to what's happening upstream, but that they also respond to changes on land and in the mountains, and as well as the weather. So since then, in university and throughout my career, I've been really interested in better understanding and exploring these complex interrelationships and the importance of functioning and resilient freshwater environments, not only for protecting the unique biodiversity, but also for human health and the economy, and using that understanding to help me produce better management plans for their protection.
Yeah, that sounds very, very interesting. So now, based on your experience as an environmental water planner, what actions do you think individuals could take to contribute to positive outcomes for freshwater resources?
Yeah, so I think, again, looking back to my childhood and my current position as a water planner, I realized that we really protect what we know and we care about. I was really reminded of this when we were in Antarctica, and speaking with some of the researchers at the scientific bases that we visited. They spoke to us a lot about the effects that human-induced climate change is having on the Antarctic environment, specifically how glaciers are retreating kilometers in as little as a decade, and that penguin populations are shifting due to changes in sea ice and krill availability from the changing water temperatures. And it's not until you're there and in this vast and uninhabited landscape that is supposedly, pristine, that you fully comprehend that it's being affected by our actions that are thousands of kilometers away. And the changes in this polar region will have consequences far beyond the latitude that's defining the Antarctic Circle. So I think the best advice that I can give is to get outside, is to go and visit national parks and reserves and go for a walk along your local river or wetland and estuary, and pay attention and appreciate the environment and all the species that it supports, the birds and the frogs and trees. And I think that's one of the simplest, cheapest, and longest lasting ways to ensure that our freshwater environments are protected and cared for into the future.
Yeah, that's great advice for our audience. Now, this next question is about the relationship between your work and the Sustainable Development Goals. Could you tell us a little more about the relationship between the work you do in water planning and Sustainable Development Goal 15, Life on Land?
Yeah, so I think it's really interesting that you asked that because, as I mentioned before, I think our freshwater ecosystems are intimately linked with life on land and are reliant on and contribute to terrestrial ecosystem health. So freshwater ecosystems are among some of the most threatened by climate change, which is resulting in increased droughts and changing in the timing of precipitation, increased water temperatures. And this is having an effect on the flood-dependent species, including threatened species such as freckled ducks or Murray cod. It's allowing forests to die off. And it's affecting the ability of the ecosystem to function properly, which is then negatively impacting on the community, on Aboriginal cultural values, and as well as on agriculture. So I think in order to best manage the entire ecosystem, you need to acknowledge that not only the water requirements of the species that rely on the environment are important, but water management also needs to involve community and industry and include complementary land management practices and cooperative water use. And I think that only in this way will there be better and more sustainable, long-lasting benefits for water and land environment.
Yeah, that's a very interesting way of putting both of them together. Now, let's talk a little bit about gender in science. So there is a growing consensus about the existence of a gender gap in favor of men, especially in science. How, in your opinion, can other female scientists like you be brought into and elevated in this male-dominated space?
Yeah, so this is a complex issue, and it is something that a lot of the participants we were sort of talking about and are continuing to speak about now that we're back from Antarctica. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions around why women don't enter or stay in science fields. One of the things that I remember being aware of when I was younger was the underrepresentation of female scientist role models, which I think early on definitely had an effect on my perceived ability to exceed in the scientific field. This was also probably reinforced in university, where I just realized that none of my lecturers were women, which definitely didn't make me feel particularly comfortable in applying for summer internship positions. And probably changed where my career went ultimately. So I do feel incredibly fortunate for the unbelievably diverse and intelligent and passionate group of women that I now get to be connected through my involvement with Homeward. And knowing that I have the support system to help guide me through any challenges that I may face in my career has really helped me to be a bit more courageous about my work towards positive environmental changes that I want to see, and as well as helped me become a bit more optimistic that we might be able to achieve them. So out of all of this, I think I'm planning on including every woman in science who I know into this network as well, so that they can benefit, and that the network can continue to grow and contribute to these sustainable solutions into the future. And I think that companies and organizations can help foster that same feeling within the workplace, and that those who are in a position to do so should try and lead by example and sponsor young women in science and advocate for their career advancement, which will also help to address some of that lack of female representation at the more senior levels.
Okay, that's great. Now, you've just mentioned the Homeward Bound expedition, and that brings me to my next question. Going into the Homeward Bound expedition, what were your goals and expectations?
Yeah, so I really did try to have very few expectations leading up to our departure. And I went into it and just tried to keep an open mind to the entire experience. And I think that helped me learn as much as I did from the content that was delivered, and also helped me to have these incredibly open and challenging conversations with the incredibly knowledge and insightful other women that were on board the ship as well. Some of the specific outcomes, I guess I was specifically hoping to gain insights was to look more at my strengths and weaknesses as a leader, and some practical tools that I can use to help improve them, which was definitely covered whilst we were on board the ship. We looked at our specific unique leadership styles, looked at our emotional intelligence and the different ways that people learn and how those things can help with communication and getting our message about our science across to the broader public. Talked about the visibility in order to help exact change, and then how to develop a strategy map, so how to try and implement it once we get back. So I did come away with a lot, and a lot of it which I'm still trying to digest and figure out best to implement it, and not just in my job and in my workplace, but also in my personal life as well. So I really did get a lot out of the program.
Wow, it looks like you came out with many gains. Now, did you have any challenges during the expedition, if I may ask?
Well, there were a few challenges, but I think that ultimately led to greater outcomes in the end. Illness was a real physical challenge that affected everybody on the ship, either due to seasickness, which some experienced during our journey across the Drake Passage, or from a virus, which made its way onto the ship as well, and that affected about 85% of participants and confined me to my tiny enclosed bottom bunk bed with fever for about 2 days.
Oh, no.
But other challenges included some of the long hours of the content. So every day we'd spend, 4 to 6 hours a day working on some of these topics. And the content itself, which made us really look honestly at ourselves and the personal perceptions that we bring to situations and some of our core values and what's deeply important to us. So I think the biggest challenge was actually going through all of this and being so far away from our family and friends and support network with very limited communication available. So besides being sick, which I don't think anybody really benefited from or we all could have done without, going through this really challenging journey with these 75 other women through the unbelievably beautiful and expansive landscape of Antarctica really helped to bring us all together and created this positive bond between us that is still continuing to grow and fostering collaboration.
Wow, that sounds very interesting and life-changing as well. Now,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, the final question: what success tips can you provide to women in scientific careers, particularly those in environmental science?
Yeah, so we were really fortunate to have a really broad, passionate, and inspiring group of Homeward Bound and supporters. And they include people like Jane Goodall and Cristina, and they all recorded videos for us to watch while we were on board the ship. And I really remember the words of Claire Bowditch, who is a singer and an activist in Australia. And they've really, really sort of stuck in my memory. And she told us to keep counting yourself in. Don't discount the things that only you as a woman can do. And to keep counting yourself in and have courage to do things on behalf of the bigger picture. And I think that those are really wise and powerful words for any woman, no matter what profession you do end up choosing.
Oh, that's very good. So keep counting ourselves in as women. All
yes.
right. Thank you very much, Cristina, for your inspiring insights and also for taking some time off your busy schedule to be with us here today.
Oh, thanks, Lisa. Good to speak with you.
Okay. For more information about the Homeward Bound expedition, please visit homewardboundprojects.com.au. Thank you for joining UNAI and our Digital Discussion Series podcast. If you want to learn more about UNAI and our activities, visit our website at academicimpact.un.org or join the conversation on social media at ImpactUN.